Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Seb Hargreaves. I'm the Executive Director at the OR Society. It's my absolute privilege and pleasure to introduce our President's Address at OR66 from our current sitting President, Dr. Gilbert Owusu. Gilbert is BT's Data and AI Director for Corporate Units and Networks, and he has a strong track record in applying AI and operational modelling technologies, which have led to significant customer service improvements and OPEX reduction in BT's operations. Gilbert's work on applying AI technologies for transforming service operations have been published widely in book chapters, conferences and journals. He's the co-editor of 2 books on service production management. He's also a visiting professor, I think, both the University of Essex and Leicester. And he, as I say, is our current president for 2023 and 2024. He's also a member of the British Computer Society's specialist group on AI, chartered engineer, fellow of the Operational Research Society and the British Computer Society. So a very busy man. We're very pleased to welcome Gilbert to provide a President's Address at this year's conference. So Gilbert, over to you.
Thank you very much, Seb. And just want to use this opportunity to recognize the members of the board. They have been instrumental in helping us stay on the right path. So before I go into my talk, I would like to do that. So John Medhurst. So John is the chair of events. And then we have Heather Dewsbury, who leads our efforts on EDI. So yeah, if we could. Heather will be leaving us, well, end of this year, going to the IMA as the president-elect. So yeah, wish you the very best and many congratulations, Heather. And then Christina Phillips. So Christina looks after our 6 key parts of our society. Without those local initiatives, we wouldn't be able to reach out to the wider community. So thank you very much, Christina. And then Stephen Lorimer. Stephen is vice president and also looks after PMW, so he's a chair of PMW, so thank you. And then Christine Carey. So Christine has been helping us, with our research, and of course for the academics amongst us, Ref come in, she's going to play a key part in that, so thank you very much, Christine. And then our president-elect, Edmond mentioned Sanya earlier on today, but we'll hear more from her tomorrow. So thank you very much, Sanya Petrovic. And Bob, who kindly... Thanks, Jan. Yeah. So Bob Scott is our honorary treasurer, and yeah, making sure that we stay on track financially. Thank you. So Tom Archibald, who looks after publications, I believe isn't around yet. Sanya on education as well. And then we have Christina Pagel, another vice president. They will be coming at some point. Okay, so thank you very much. And thanks a lot to the staff of the society, Seb, and the leadership team, Sarah, Carol, Alex, and the wider team. Thank you for all that you've done supporting myself and the board over the past 2 years. So thank you. Okay. So for this session, I want to reflect on a few things. I will share my thoughts over the past 2 years and then invite Ruth to talk about the work that we are doing within the Academy for Mathematical Sciences. That's a huge initiative across the country. We are playing a key role as a society. Ruth has been helping us on that. We had Christine, who did, quite a lot of work as well, and passed on the baton to Heather. So, yeah, Ruth will be bringing us up to speed on that. But I will kick off. So what I want to talk about is how OR and AI work together, or the opportunities, challenges that we face as a society in addressing some of the concerns facing us with regards to AI. But before I do that, I just want to highlight my objectives when I started. There were 3 key areas that I wanted to focus on. Mainly to help address, you could say, a key aspect of our mission. So for those of us who remember, as a society, we are here to promote OR. And there are 3 strands to this. One is to enhance our visibility, either through the techniques and the value we add. The second is about creating a vibrant community. And then the third, it's the value that we add through the initiatives we embark on. So that's how I measure my success, okay? And I set myself the targets to look at how I could focus mainly on visibility, but also look at the others. But primarily, accelerates the implementation of initiatives. So my predecessors, and I'm very privileged to have Edmund here, John Hopes, and then Ruth Kaufman, OBE, here to basically be part of this celebration, 75th, finishing our 75th anniversary celebrations. And they kicked off a number of initiatives. Because you probably heard of I mentioned the Academy of Mathematical Sciences, that was before my time. There was open access, that was before my time, and a host of other initiatives. And my focus during my time was to look at how to land some of those, okay, and we'll touch on a couple of those as we go through. And then, of course, broaden our reach, and this is part of our charitable objectives. Then finally, to consolidate and innovate for the future. How do we make sure that we are relevant as we move forward? So in light of that, I mentioned the 75th anniversary celebrations officially kicked off last year's conference, and the team, the board and the staff and most of our volunteers have played a key role in helping us enhance, the visibility of what we do, but also to deliver more value. And just to call out a few, so we held a reception for our volunteers at the House of Lords, and this will be a regular feature of our calendar. I think it's fitting for us to recognize the work that our volunteers do. Volunteers, or without volunteers, we wouldn't be able to have a viable society. And of course, the work on Joel's 75th anniversary, again, with a publication committee that was celebrated during the years, was last year, but of course, great work on those fronts. And then level 7 of call recognition. And again, this is work that has been going on for many years. I remember when I first, it was Ruth's time when I joined the committee, the education committee at the time, where deliberating and putting forward a proposal and all that. It has landed, and this is, I would say that for all those, some are in this room, others are not. The staff, I know that Alex here who has been driving this with Seb and other members of staff. But I would say the volunteers, the education committee, played an instrumental role. So I would want us to recognize them for this huge milestone. So if you could do that, please. of course, this is key for us because it will address some of the concerns we have as a society in terms of looking at other ways to increase our revenue streams. Okay, so it's a very major thing for us. Outreach that continues, and we talk about enhancing our visibility. So again, digital transformations, brilliant work being done by Sarah and the team to refresh and rebrand our website. I believe those who have visited the site recently could see the difference. We've also seen growth in our membership, or 6% growth over the past year. And I was asking Sarah some codes there. So about a quarter of that membership is from girls. And I think this is good for the society, because at the end of the day, the decisions made by government impacts every one of us. So the more OR practitioners we have in government, the better it is for us. And then, of course, we do have our students, the practitioner population, and then our academics as well. We have had some good news in terms of diversity. So again, work that Carol, Tom, and the research committee have been doing is looking at how we can enhance our diversity across our editorial boards. So we currently have about 50% female, 50% male when it comes to ages on the editorial board. I'm told that the average is about 30 for females, 70 across the world. So it is a huge milestone for the society. And also just want to call out some initiative that NAV kicked off as well, geographically looking at how to enhance or be diverse. So reaching out to the African OR Society, encouraging them first of all, making whatever we have visible to them, but also encouraging them to publish within our journal. So the focus always kicking off with the Journal of Simulation, and hopefully that will go through to the other journals. So those are the key highlights. But against this, we do have challenges, or the landscape is changing. I mentioned the open access. I'm not going to labor on this, but of course, the introduction, we do have a new open access journal. So if you haven't picked up one of these, please do. This is also a way for us to diversify our income. Of course, the first 2 years, not much will be made in terms of income on that, but hopefully in the coming years after that, we should see some money coming through to address some of the concerns we have around finances. Government funding for mathematical sciences, I'm not going to talk about that, so Ruth will do justice to that. But that it's also, we are seeing a lot of focus from the government on increasing the focus on maths education, okay, and the Academy of Mathematical Sciences will play a big part in that, and we will play our part in ensuring that happens. And then the last thing, which would be the focus of my talk, is AI and its impact on the society. I remember John Hope's, when he was president, analytics was a key part of his focus. And the ADG group was created within the society to help channel efforts on analytics through that. Fast forward a few years, AI, it's in vogue, and there are discussions, and rightly so, about what we do as a society in terms of branding and so on. And there will be some events for you to share your views. But I want to look at what is it that we as a community face, some thoughts, and how we can respond. So before I go any further, what springs to mind when you see these three brands? We're in a university, so we'll welcome some audience participation. What springs to mind? Okay. Okay. Old to new. That's cool. Thanks. One more. Slow to fast. Okay, cool. So thanks a lot. Thanks for the responses. Well, I put this up to illustrate, the need for us to be more visible. Okay, so when you see these brands, Amazon, AI comes to mind because of what most people would interact with the recommendation systems and so on. Ocado, yes. Others may also think about through the shopping experience, you could say AI. But what most people wouldn't recognize, I think Tony's here and others from GOS, is that most of the decision making in government is underpinned by OR techniques. Most, the average person wouldn't recognize that. If you look at Ocado, again, they have a massive OR department. They have won awards here. Okay, most people wouldn't recognize that. And again, Amazon, I think last year's conference, we had someone who had, one of the preliminary speakers used to work for Amazon, and he mentioned the OR department there. That is invisible to most people. Okay. Why am I putting this up? We have a lot of work to do as a society to make sure that the good work being done across our teams is visible to everyone. Because, as I mentioned, if you take the UK government, major decisions are all underpinned by OR techniques. And if we don't finish that pipeline, I think we wouldn't have an enjoyable experience, okay, because of the decisions that will end up being taken without OR, if I may say so. It is obvious AI, it's disrupting industry and education. I need not say more about that. I mean, some figures here. Last year, the UK government wanted to position itself as a leader in safe AI. That was the first AI summit on safety worldwide that was held here in the UK. We see the market for AI growing. Again, in the UK to $1 trillion by 2035, and you can definitely see the others there. In education, the academics amongst us know more about this, the impact of AI, both in how we go about lecturing, marking, you name it, assessing students, that it's impacting. Last night, we're having dinner, Edmond, Sanya, and Mossab, and our preliminary speaker earlier on today, and we discussed, we're talking about this same view around AI and education. Okay, how do you assess whether what students have produced was used by ChatGPT or not? Okay, that I think is a topic that occupies academics here. Having said this, AI has been in use. We just know we know that ChatGPT and generative AI in particular, let me put it that way, has recently been the focus. But the question we need to ask ourselves is that why don't these systems work right first time? We have had them, and newer ones have been added every year or so. Why don't they work right first time? And I just list a few here. One is unrealistic expectations and goal setting. Okay, classic challenge facing most IT systems, software systems. That sort of alignment between what is expected and what is being delivered. And PwC interviewed some executives, just looking at figure here about 72% of them believe that AI will definitely deliver value, but only 38% actually believe that this will happen, and it's due to misalignment. IDC, similar view. They surveyed a number of organizations, and they cite that 35% of those who responded cited that AI technology didn't perform as expected. That is on misalignment in expectations. Data issues, chronic problem for any big organizations. I face that. Those who are starting from scratch have the benefit to instrument their processes accordingly. But if you are a legacy organization, that's a huge problem. Trust is also a problem, and we see a lot of focus, I think that it's also in academia, on courses to address this challenge around ethics and all that. We don't have to look far to see or read about the negative impact of AI or Gen AI in particular on our lives. So an article in the Guardian highlighted that AI discriminating against non-native English speakers, because it's easier to say that they used Gen AI to generate the non-native English speakers use Gen AI to write their essays. So these are just a few things to call out. I believe there will be others. Why we are not able to get these systems right first time. And I think a key part of that is the lack of the interdisciplinary and collaboration approach. And I think this is amplified by the way we roll out these systems. So most of these capabilities, whatever we do, requires people, technology, processes, and most times you'd have processes that look like this on paper, okay? But in practice, this is what happens. And this is where the challenge is, because it's not just about technology, it is about engaging people, it is about looking at ways to re-engineer processes and get the right outcomes for the business. So what can the society do? And as OR practitioners, researchers, what can we do? I'm calling out three areas. One is our approach to problem solving. The second is we could play a role in how we educate and develop skills for the future. And of course, the third is around how we assure AI models. And these are built on the strengths we have as a community. So if you look at our approach to problem solving, we have the benefit of having both soft and hard OR techniques. Most problems for organizations will embark on a transformation journey. Okay? And there are people elements to it. And most of the time, that isn't looked at properly. In organization I've spoken to, and in my organization as well, it's very easy to focus on the technique and then forget about the softer side of implementing change. And I think as a group, as a community, we do have an array of capabilities on both sides, the soft side, the hard side, to deliver the right outcomes for either our stakeholders, be it in industry or in academia. And a lot of good work is being done in that light. So I think we need to build on that. One of the fundamental concerns here, it's problem structuring. I don't think we do that well enough. If that is being done, we wouldn't have failures when it comes to most of these initiatives, be it IT implementation or whatever it is that we are implementing in our organization. So I think there is an opportunity for us to expose these techniques to our stakeholders. The other 8 on education, and that's what I call the danger of missing out. And I will start by illustrating a case here. So what I have observed, and talking to some academics as well, is that typical data science course, machine learning courses, aren't comprehensive. I mentioned the problem structuring phase to encompass those elements. Okay, so you give. Let me use this story. There was a problem that needed to be solved for optimizing the utilization of some assets, and this challenge was given to, I won't say graduates, but they're fairly young in their craft. And the first thing they asked was, where is the data? And of course, the stakeholder said, we don't really have data. They said, we can solve this problem. Okay. It ends up, you don't need data, enough data or big data to solve this problem. It's just capturing the constraints. And this highlights the problem that we are facing through most of these courses, AI courses, ML courses, and all that everything is seen through the lens of big data. So if it isn't big data, then there isn't a solution. And I think that is a very dangerous path to go down on. Okay, and I think it's a challenge I am calling out to our academic community, because if we don't address this, we'll end up producing graduates who are very narrow when it comes to problem solving. Because not every problem is big data. I mean, let's go back a few years when we didn't have big data. We're still solving problems. We're using optimization techniques. We're using whatever it is. Okay, and I think we just need to look at how well we are churning out these graduates. Okay, and unfortunately, within industry as well, because of the focus on AI, exposure to some of these oral techniques aren't there. And well, guess what? It will impact the way we come up with outcomes or affect the decision-making process. So I asked for this. The staff got this for me. I mean, it's not all that bad news. We are seeing an increase in, or when it comes to OR degrees, about 36 more OR degrees since 2019. However, courses with OR in their title are becoming less common. So 35% of, decrease since 2019. And some concerns here, okay, if we lose the brand or, the focus on the OR brand, it will impact on what it is that we offer, okay, in terms of techniques and so on. This is something for us to bear in mind. I mentioned trust, and I think as a community, we have an opportunity to do a lot when it comes to trust. These are some of the tenets around assuring AI models, making sure that we have transparency, robustness, accountability, and privacy. I think that the work that we do as a society within simulation, digital twins, can help address some of those concerns. Because simulation, again, digital twins will help with issues we have around data, will help with engaging stakeholder communities, and that it's a given, would help with how we extend whatever we do outside our boundaries, be it our own local organizations and others. And I put this up because my company, BT, worked with a few other companies for COP26 and some academics, Edinburgh University and others using OR techniques, the concept of digital twins with a national digital twin initiative to look at how we could share data across these organizations. And simulation helps foster that engagement. So I think, again, for us as a community, we could leverage this to help assure users of AI, provide those insights, and assure users of AI of the outcomes. Again, some work that is being done by the society with Validate AI and others to help make sure that we have the guidelines, frameworks in place when it comes to assuring AI models, because it's going to be a requirement for procuring AI, for even if you're a company that needs to be audited, that is going to be a requirement. So a great opportunity for us as a society to train up organizations and get them ready to respond to challenges that may come our way with regards to assuring models. So final reflections. Value delivered over the decades. Again, I got the staff to pull this out for me. Across sectors, okay. Health played a key role. More recently, we looked at OR and its role within COVID. In aviation, I know that the work that Edmond led on some years back, OR played a key role there. We had the plenary speaker today talking about some of the work being done in that space. We see, again, in government, in academia around scheduling, humanitarian, and more recently, sustainability. I touched on that a couple of slides ago. And almost every year, our President's Medal showcases some of the great work and the impact that OR is making within industry. There is more to be done. I think we have the opportunity to use these to raise or enhance the visibility of the work that we do. Just to finish off, our skills are in high demand. Interestingly, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, they predict growth in OR. So they must have OR as a recognized name. I don't think we do that in the UK. Well, challenge for us to do something there. Forbes also cited OR analysts, the fastest growing job. This was back in 2021. But you get a point. That there is an opportunity for us to enhance our visibility because our skills or the skills of this community is in high demand. In conclusion, not everything that counts can be counted. Not everything that can be counted counts. For me, and that's Albert Einstein, for me, this sums up what we offer as a society. What we can count, the quantitative bit, hard OR, what can be counted, the soft OR bit. Okay, and our multidisciplinary disciplinary approach clearly places us in good stead to help shape the way technologies like AI are being used. And I touched on simulation helping to engender trust in AI. So thank you very much. I hope some ideas for us to work on collectively. Sanya will be picking up the reins next year, and there will be more to do. So thanks a lot. And hopefully we will be working with some of you on these initiatives. I'd like to invite Ruth. I'd like to invite Ruth to come and share with us what has been happening on the Academy of Mathematical Sciences and Fellowships. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Gilbert. It's a shame that there's not an opportunity for questions for Gilbert.
That's true, yes.
Is that better? Can you hear me? Oh, good, good. But I'm sure he's going to be around if you want to ask him questions later. As he was talking, I had that nasty feeling that I've prepared a presentation and it may be on the wrong subject, so I'll just check that in a minute. But just to introduce myself, I'm Ruth Kaufman, like it says, and I'm a past president of the Operational Research Society, and I am a current member of the Executive Committee for the Proto Academy for the Mathematical Sciences, where I was supported into that position by the OR Society. I'm also a board member of the actual Academy, where I am, my primary interest is the Academy itself. So I'm not there to represent the OR Society, I'm there as an Academy board member. Now, I was originally asked to talk about the fellowship, the proposals for fellowship of the Academy for the Mathematical Sciences, because my role on the Executive Committee is to lead the work stream on both governance and on fellowship. And that's what I've got here. I'm planning to, my overall aim is, I'm assuming that when I say fellowship of the Academy for the Mathematical Sciences, you have no idea what I'm talking about. So my aim is that you will know a little bit about where we're going on fellowship. What I haven't done is prepare a talk on the Academy itself. So can I just have a show of hands on who knows something, who's read anything, or been following the growth of the Academy for the Mathematical Sciences? So I would say that's about half the room. And many of those who've said yes, we do have other members of the OR Society who are part of the Executive Committee. Heather Tewkesbury, Christine Curry. I'm not sure if I've left out anybody else who's in the room, but if I have, apologies. And other members of the board. But just to say a little bit about the Academy itself, the idea came up in a initiative that was sponsored by what was then EPSRC, I suppose it still is, by Sir Philip Bond, looking at knowledge exchange in the mathematical sciences about 6 or 7 years ago, 8 years ago, which came to the conclusion, had a long list of recommendations for how the UK can do better in using its mathematical sciences research. And one of its recommendations was to set up an academy. And many years later, a lot of work later, progress has been made. So that's where the initiative came from. So just this quick recap is, this is what the academy intends to be. The people who've been working on it have been launched by the Council for the Mathematical Sciences, which is 5 learned societies: the London Mathematical Society, the Institute of Maths and its Applications, the Royal Statistical Society, the Edinburgh Mathematical Society, and the OR Society. So the OR Society is one of the group of people who've launched the academy and has been very involved in seeing where we're getting to. But the mathematical landscape is far bigger than just those. If we focus just on the sorts of things that the learned societies deal with, we would be overlooking everything, almost everything that goes on in schools. So all of our education, all of the maths teacher support, all of the mathematical promotion organisations, mathematical charities that support numeracy, there's a huge amount of work going on beyond those learned societies. And there are other societies beyond those 5. So people like the Institute of Actuaries, people like the Royal Society, other national academies, Royal Academy of Engineering. So there's huge amounts going on beyond. And the aim of the Academy is that it will be a convening power, so it'll be able to bring these people together. It will be a voice, so it will be able to amplify and advocate for the mathematical sciences, and it'll be a coordinator so that we can move forward. And I hadn't originally been going to say anything about where we are in terms of progress. I've said we've set up actually an academy, has no funding. It has put in a bid for funding to Department for Skills, Innovation and Technology, perhaps DSIT, and I'm afraid that an election came along and the decision on whether it gets the money is pending. So we don't know whether it's going to get money from there. There's also looking at fundraising from other sources. But at the moment it has no money, and the Proto Academy is going along with 3 or 4 paid staff and 80 volunteers, some of whom are in the audience today. So that's the recap on the Academy. And I should also add to that if you want to know more about the Academy, I'm going to be around till the middle of Thursday, so you can always ask me. I will aim to be hanging around the OR Society stall, where we've got a little sign which says Academy of the Mathematical Sciences, or you can get to me on the app, on the meeting hub of the conference app. It's a plug for the meeting hub of the conference app. So, what I was asked to talk about was the fellowship of the Academy. What is a fellowship? It's almost like asking, what is a national academy? So the idea of the Academy for the Mathematical Sciences is that it is another national academy. And the UK at the moment has several national academies. One is the Royal Society, perhaps the most prestigious of all, and certainly the oldest. One is the Royal Academy of Engineering. It's got the Academy for Medical Sciences, Academy for Social Sciences. There's I can't remember, there's the Wales, an Ireland, and a Scotland equivalent. The precise names escape me just at the minute. But an academy, a national academy, comes with the expectation that it will have fellows. And when I say fellows, this is not like fellow of the OR Society. A fellow, for example, a fellow of the Royal Society is somebody who has been voted in by a collection of their peers as being a deep and acknowledged expert in the area that they work in, and somebody who can contribute to the future strength and lustre of the society. So the expectation is that a national academy has fellows of that order. When we were looking for ourselves for the Academy for the Mathematical Sciences, we looked at, we assumed there would be fellows. But we went back to first principles on the fellows. We said, why? What do we want fellows for? What is the purpose of fellows? What will we be asking them to do? Because one of the very early thoughts around the Academy is the fellows will be expected to be active participants in the Academy. Not just people who've accepted the post-nominals, the letters after their names. So what are we going to ask them to do? And what makes it different? Why? We've got lots of other fellowships around in the UK. You could be a fellow of the Royal Society, of the Learned Society of Wales, and also, of course, a fellow of the Institute of Maths and its Applications or the OR Society. What's so special? What's going to be different about the fellowship of the Academy for the Mathematical Sciences? So those are the 3 questions that we designed the fellowship to meet. So the idea was that we would examine what our answers to those questions would be. So what is the purpose for the Academy of the Fellowship? The very first thing is the fellows of a national academy are its members. So a national academy is not a membership body, it's a charity that is governed by a small group of people, not just its trustees, but a larger group than its trustees, but people who are answerable ultimately for what it's delivering to the world in terms of public benefit. So the fellows of the Academy will be the members of the Academy, and their role is to ensure governance, transparency and accountability. A charity board can, in law, the charity board is the ultimate responsible body legally, but the members vote them into place and may bring censure to bear or approval to bear or point them in different directions through general meetings of the members. They are there also to give the Academy authority within the community. So we expect that you will be able to look at the fellows of the Academy and say, yes, I trust the Academy because I can see that name and that name and that name are the members, and those are people that we feel we can trust. Even if you don't know the names, you can Google them, look at what they've been doing and say, oh, yeah, I can see why they're there. So to give authority within the community of mathematicians, whatever that means, but also credibility, authority and prestige with outside bodies, so that if the Academy is providing a single voice, it's amplifying the voice of other mathematical organisations, partly because it is well respected, partly because its fellows are well respected. And I've got some more things in lighter print here, because it's not just going to be the fellows who are engaged in making the Academy successful, we hope. There'll be a lot of people from the community, and this is so that much wider engagement in the Academy's future committees than simply having the fellows involved. And we will be looking to communities, and certainly to the OR community, as for potentially populating committees and helping, volunteering, maybe getting your place at the House of Lords in these forthcoming receptions, thoroughly recommended. But these are the sorts of things that we want from our people who are engaged, but also particularly from fellows. The important thing is that the Academy is not there for the fellows. It's not that it is a body which has been set up to provide a good deal for the people who become its members. The fellows are there to help the Academy achieve what it needs to achieve. And follows from that that this is an invitation to participate. It's not that it is an honour that we're conferring on excellent people. If we want to award people with great honours, there'll be different ways of doing that, I hope, or not. So the should be familiar with that sort of non-symmetric logic. What will we want Academy Fellows to do? Well, we want to be diverse in our fellowship. So we don't want to put too much expectation on people who are at a particular life point where they can't contribute for one reason or another. But at the least, people can be vocal about their fellowship and the work of the Academy. At least they can recognise their ultimate governance role and take part in the votes and in the general meetings. At most, they can be willing to engage in Academy committee work and actually help to design some of the initiatives of the Academy, responding to consultations and so on. And I should have added, when I was talking about potential funding, one of the things that DSIT would be funding the Academy to do, if it were to give the funding, is to produce a strategy for the sector. So over 3 years, over the coming 3 years, to produce a strategy for the whole sector to enable it better to deliver on its promise of benefiting UK society and economy. What's so special compared with other fellowships? And particularly compared with other National Academy fellowships like Royal Society, which is science including mathematics, and Royal Academy of Engineering, we're looking at the breadth of contributions. There are many, many dimensions of excellence, including outreach, including excellent teaching, including bringing people into maths who might not otherwise have been engaged in maths, including making sure that maths is applied in industry. Other academies tend to focus, this is less true of the Academy of Engineering and the Academy for the Social Sciences, but other academies tend to focus on excellent research. And it will really be focused on people who wish to contribute to the flourishing of the mathematical sciences. That means not just research in mathematical sciences, but practice, implementation of mathematical sciences across business, industry and government. Heather is in the lead at the moment. Christine was in the lead and is on the group doing that, so if you want to do that. And education and the crossover between them all. So top-down design principles, these have governed the next steps of fellowship. Who do we want to be fellows? How will we recruit them? And all the other detailed questions that people ask when they say, well, so we're setting up a fellowship. So what are you going to do about boom, boom, boom? So we go back to these first principles. I'm just going to say, I'm going to run out of time, so I'm just going to say, this is as far as we've got on who. We have tested this out by producing a collection of pen pictures, 30 whittled down from 100, of people from across the mathematical breadth of landscape that I've described, running them through mock panels consisting of another 30 or 40 people to identify whether we can actually interpret those words. And to a certain extent, we've discovered at the stage we're at, we can. And we're in the process now of turning that into something much more concrete in the form of guidance. So wait for the guidance. Just to say 2 points, fellowship is for life. This was a very controversial issue. It's still controversial, but this is where the decision is, that fellowship will be for life or until the fellow chooses to retire, just as your membership of the OR Society, we hope, is for life. Unlike the Royal Society in particular, we aim to build in diversity from the outset. And that leaves a lot of risks and issues from the sorts of things we've been discussing, of elitism, exclusion, divisiveness, the lifetime fellowship carrying the risk of stultification, being able to identify excellence going beyond the mathematical sciences expertise where there's an audit trail. If we dilute the excellence too much, though, it risks reducing. If we dilute the understood, commonly accepted excellence, it risks reducing external influence, so there's a balance to be sought. There's lots of things to work through, and we are working through them. I won't say much about diversity, because I'm going to make you late for your coaches if I'm not careful. And just to say, we're currently working on those. We're all volunteers, so we're going a little bit slower than we would like to. But we do hope to be openly advertising for fellows within the next year. I am sure we will be openly advertising for more input into the various committees that will be needed, especially to generate the new strategy, both for the academy and for the sector. And we will certainly be openly advertising for those probably sooner than we're advertising for fellows. So please do keep reading your Inside OR, keep getting your emails and clicking on the emails that you get from the OR Society, because that's probably where you'll find it, or follow the Academy itself, go onto its website, and please get in touch with me if you want to know any more, either now or later. Thank you very much.